What the blank are you doing here? Well, my husband is British, and so I had to move here to live with him. Okay, the next one. Surely you missed the most annoying thing about America. Do tell, I'm listening. It's full of Americans! Okay, my husband would agree with you on that. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm an American who's lived in the UK for almost 10 years, and today I'm responding to your hate comments. Okay, so I feel like I've really made it on YouTube because I can do a video all about hate comments. The first section is actually not hate comments. They're comments that I found amusing or want to respond to. So if you're in the first half of the video, I very much appreciate your comments. The second half, we're going to react to the rude and hateful comments that I've gotten on my channel. And the last one is definitely the most amusing. So make sure to stick around till the end of the video for that. Now, for those of you who do find it in your hearts to have the time to leave mean and hateful comments on people's YouTube videos, I just want you to know one thing about Americans in particular, and that is we have a sky-high self-esteem and ego that is based on absolutely nothing. We think we're the best for no reason whatsoever, which is really helpful when it comes to managing hate comments. I think they're hilarious, but not everybody is going to have that self-esteem. And honestly, it's really hard to put yourself out there. So before you leave a hate comment on someone's video, just ask yourself, is this the kind of person I want to be? And I'm sure some of you will say yes and continue, so probably there will be a part two. But yeah, not nice. Okay, let's jump into the comments. Like I said, these first ones are not hate comments, but I will be reacting to some comments that you guys have left, so here we go. I was born in London and I'm definitely rude, but only when some idiot of a tourist is standing on the left-hand side of the escalator. Yes, 100%, I get this. Have been known to simply shout, "Move!" and push them to the right so I can keep walking up. Yes, I have done this when commuting in London. I'm not proud of it, but needed to be done, so I can completely relate. My fellow travelers and Londoners just look at the tourists and you can see them thinking, idiots. Now, I would think that not everyone is looking at visitors to London and thinking idiots. Definitely London is welcoming. Please come and visit London when you can. It's a great city, but yes, 100% this is an accurate comment that I experienced when commuting in and out of London for almost 5 years. I have definitely pushed a tourist in that time. Next comment. I've lived through 69 British Christmases and have never ever heard the term Crimbo. Are you sure you're not making it up? And they left a heart face, so thank you for your comment. This is so funny to me because there's things that, I mean, the fact that you've never heard someone say Crimbo, I mean, props to you. That sounds like an amazing life. But there are things like this where other things that happened, I talked about bank card readers in the UK and people were like, I've never seen one of those in my life, but I'm from the UK. And it makes me question, am I living a completely different life or in an alternate dimension? It's just funny the kinds of things that maybe are regional or based on, you know, I don't know. Crimbo definitely is a British slang term for Christmas, but hopefully it's dying out. Always amazed how Americans know how big their houses are in square feet. This made me laugh because this is so true. I have no idea how big any of the homes I've lived in were or are, and so far as I know, most Brits are the same. Again, this one made me laugh because I reflected on my own experiences of asking my American mom about her square footage, don't ask why, and asking my in-laws who are Brits about their home square footage, and my mom knew like down to the square foot, and my in-laws were like, I don't know, I'd have to find a document. And I was like, you don't know? In America, we are just obsessed with knowing how big our houses are, and that is 100% a true comment. Nice to hear you pronounce coupon correctly. Sometimes when I hear an American say it on TV, they try and put some French intonation on it and say coupon. Okay, I'm now not sure if how I said coupon in an earlier video, and maybe I'm now saying it wrong, but this also made me laugh. I mean, how you could say coupon, or some people say coupon, which I feel like definitely isn't it. I think I say coupon. Is that right? Is that what we're getting at? Yeah, now I don't know how I'm supposed to say coupon, but thank you for your comment. Okay, this is in reaction to me talking about British homes and how hot they can get in the summer. Someone said, if it gets hot in England, we open a window, and 30 people liked that. Now, Okay, here's the thing. I totally understand opening a window to get the breeze, maybe like in late spring, early fall, maybe even like a summer day when it's not, it's kind of like a mild England summer day, fine. But there are some days in England where the air just stands still and it is blazing hot outside. And English people are like, oh, just open a window. That is not gonna do anything. I have tried that, trust me. Opening a window is like, this just made me laugh. People in real life have said this as well. So again, this is not a hate comment. I completely appreciate that the English way to deal with the heat is to open a window. I just want to put forward the idea that on a particularly hot summer day, which there's more of them than there used to be, opening a window doesn't really do much, in my opinion. Okay, someone said, it seems a bit worrying that you can have a car going around with faults on the brakes or tires or steering being driven by a person whose driving experience is 20 minutes in a car park. This is in response to a video I did where I talked about my driving in the UK versus driving in the US. 100% this is true. The more I think about it, it is terrifying that I was ever allowed on the roads or that the Florida driving's license test don't require much of you. 100% agreed. Someone said, I find it really lazy that someone bags your food shop for you, laughing emoji. And this is talking about in America where it's common to have someone bagging your groceries and you don't do it yourself. This is just how America works. And yeah, I don't think it's lazy. I mean, I think it's like nice to chat to somebody as they're putting your groceries in the cart, but this was an amusing comment. Someone said, we walked to Tower Bridge and saw the cool building that looks like a striped potato. It is on the opposite side of the London Tower, Tower of London. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like a striped potato. That is the best way I've ever heard referred to London's City of Hall. It 100% looks like a striped potato. Okay. Now, I get this one a lot. Someone said, it's interesting that you live in the UK and still speak American English. I get this all the time. People comment, I can't believe that you've kept your accent after living for 10 years in the UK. Basically, you sound like you just got off the plane from America. Part of the reason for this is I have spent a lot of time working with Americans in the UK for my past job. Another reason is I am actually aware of it. It's a really big deal to me to still feel like myself in the UK, and I've assimilated in many ways, but how I speak and the words I use and my accent, I just feel like it would be weird to take on something else because this is me, this is how I sound, this is how I've always sounded. So I am aware of it, but also it does, like I talked about in another video, I think it does perplex me to think of really anybody but a child or teenager moving over who then doesn't keep their American accent. To me, it's not really like, this is just the way that I know how to pronounce words out of my mouth, and living in the UK definitely hasn't changed that, but I do get that a lot talking about how I sound very, very American, which I'm not sure how to take that, but I'll just take it as an observation. Now it's time to move on to the hate comments. So get ready to be amazed at what people are willing to say to someone over the internet, and also to laugh. Comment number 1, and this was in response to me doing a video called like 5 things that they don't tell you before moving to the UK. Clearly just a title, but okay. Maybe we shouldn't have to tell you. Maybe you should learn about the things you're going to come across before coming here. I mean, okay. Nice flat though. Thank you. Okay, next comment in response to me talking about how I thought Stonehenge was overrated in my video on UK attractions that I think are overrated. What the blank are you doing here? Well, my husband is British, and so I had to move here to live with him. Bunch of rocks. I've watched a number of your videos now. Thank you. You so haven't a clue, my dear. I love how people say my dear, like, that's kind of what they say in the South, like, bless your heart. Like, this person is not actually trying to be nice to me, but my dear sounds okay. It's quite frankly laughable. Go home. We'll get into that more in a bit. Next comment. Don't you go on. turned off at just over 4 minutes. I just like that this person knew when they turned the video off in minutes and commented on when they turned it off. That just makes me, I mean, thank you for watching those 4 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Christ on a bike, that just me. I love that expression. Christ on a bike. This girl can talk. It's like a foghorn, on and on. I don't think she stopped to breathe once. Well, your sentence could use some punctuation as well, but thank you for your feedback, and I will be sure to stop and breathe occasionally. Okay, moving on. Someone just commented boring. Again, like, why are you commenting on something that I find loads of things boring, but I'm not gonna comment and say that I found it boring. Like, how strange. Okay, this is in response to me talking about the differences in UK and American homes. And I talked about mixer taps versus the taps or faucets that they have in the UK, because a lot of times if you have separate taps in the UK, one is really hot, one is really cold. And I was talking about like the difficulty in washing your face going between the two streams of water. Okay, comment. Are you really stupid? I don't think so, but it's possible. If you want to wash your face in the sink, you know as well as I do, they, like your bath, have a plug. Yes, true. You put the plug in the hole and run both taps till you get the right temperature water in the sink. Then you can wash your face. If you had been here a few weeks, I could understand your reasoning. But you've been here almost 10 years, so you surely know how to use sinks now. Okay. Again, I appreciate that maybe the only solution would be this very convoluted way to fill up a sink with different temperatures of water and have your thermometer ready to then fill it up. And like, I get that that is the solution. I think my point was more that that's a bad solution, and that's why I prefer mixer taps. Again, I'm really not trying to insult like the British Empire here. I'm just saying maybe there's a better way than separate faucets. But thank you for your feedback. Okay, this is a very confusing one. Girl Gone London. If you have been in London for 10 years, then you should not call British people Brits. It means human sewage. I think they mean sewage. So stop calling British people Brits. This is genuinely confounding to me because I have lived here 10 years and I have never heard anybody say anything about the term Brit being anything else. So comment below if you can clarify. I have asked some people who have talked about how maybe people don't like to be referred to as British. They prefer to be referred to as English, Scottish, Welsh, or Northern Irish, which I completely understand, but I don't really understand the bit about the term Brit being related to human sewage. So, I mean, if I'm missing something, definitely clarify below. Okay, here's one. If I had a pound for every time you said like, I would be a millionaire. I hope that you do have a pound for every time I said like, because I do say it a lot. Someone else responds, well, like, you can tell when they're in their 20s, like in America, like, you know. Now, this is definitely a valid criticism. I say like a lot without thinking. But my question to you is this because the person commenting, I think, was British? Do British people think that they are the most eloquent, you know, speech givers to ever walk the planet? People here just say different words like whatever to string their sentences together. Yes, in America, we do say like a lot, but I'm not necessarily sure that I would say I've noticed here that everyone's like a great, oh, see, I just said like again, that everyone's a great orator or going around like Charles Dickens all over the place. Okay, here's another one. Okay, the next one. Surely you missed the most annoying thing about America. Do tell, I'm listening. It's full of Americans! Okay, my husband would agree with you on that. Most of whom think it normal to shout loudly all of the time with their irritating accents. I'm interested in hearing which accents you find the most irritating because we do have a lot of different ones and some are irritating to me, but some are not. So what do people who live abroad think about American accents? Like, anyway, going on a tangent, but they find them all irritating. Even your accent/voice is ridiculously loud. Girls especially so. What? They just sound like a siren going on and on and on and on. I have been referred to as a siren or foghorn multiple times now. Just speak normally, please, they say in all caps, basically shouting over the internet. Thank you. Someone says, stop waving your arms around for a second, please. I don't think I've done much arm waving in this video, but I should have now. Moving on to, someone says, stop complaining about our countries of the UK and go home to America, the country of gun nuts. Now, I would go home to America, but other people have a problem with that. Next comment. LOL. Expats from the UK here in the Texas Energy Corridor tell a completely different story. They say they'll never go back to the UK because it flat out sucks compared to the US. And I can't believe anyone would believe a kid still living at home with mom and dad with zero life experience would listen to a thing you say. You're a punk kid. Okay. There's so much with this. First of all, I'm almost 30 and having a complex about it. So the fact that you think I'm a punk kid or still living at home with mom and dad is kind of like actually nice. So thank you. Also, I do not live with my mom and dad, but I miss them a lot and wish that I could spend more time with them. So thank you for bringing that up. But also, what? Okay, next one. Fine, don't come back. No one wants you here anyway. This is definitely an American saying that no one wants me there anyway, which again, I feel like my mom does. I don't know if anyone else does, but at least one person. Okay, now it gets confusing because somebody said to slag your own country off from a foreign one is the height of bad manners. This is confusing because we don't use the word slag in the US. So I thought at first it was an American telling me not to say bad things about America from a foreign country, but I think it's a British person saying don't slag off America from the UK because it's the height of bad manners, which I kind of appreciate that person sticking up for America. So there you go. Okay, so I told you I'd save the best for last. This is a very long comment and I'll just pick out parts. But I found two things funny about it. A, I found how passionate they were about certain things in a British home. Secondly, I found it amusing how condescending they are to me about it. And here's the thing, my videos are not meant to be the most intense thing you've read all day. Like, we're not here talking about like international relations or, you know, I give my opinions on like safety in both countries or the medical service in both countries, but I try and do a pretty good job at talking about the pros and cons of each one. I feel like people don't want me saying things that are negative about the UK or that I don't like. And they also don't want me saying negative things or things I don't like about the US. So I'm just supposed to sit here and do what? You know, like, why are you watching? Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Okay, so the comment. We don't need air conditioning here. We have a magical device called a window, which you can open to get fresh, cool air. Again, I've addressed this. I don't know what fresh, cool air is coming into people's homes in like a really hot July or August summer day, but it's definitely not coming into mine. So send some of that my way. I will never understand how you could dry your hair in a steam-filled bathroom. I mean, I don't know. It works fine, but okay. Something about handles, flushing toilet, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Obviously, the washing machine goes there. This is referring to in the kitchen, which you'll find a lot of washing machines. Actually, mine is going right now in our kitchen, which is behind us. They say, obviously, the washing machine goes there. I've heard Americans will put theirs in the bathroom, which seems barbaric. Now, I've never actually heard of washing machines going in the bathroom ever. Could happen, just not where I'm from in the States. But also, I don't know how that's barbaric, but she goes on to explain, how can you enjoy a soak in the bath if your knickers are being washed nearby? I mean, how can you enjoy going to the bath if you're sitting next to the toilet where, you know, okay. No reminder of housework should exist in the bathroom. I will agree with you on that. It would be much more relaxing if I had a separate spa to go to that did not involve any of this. Okay, now we're going on to my thoughts about sinks. How is it that Americans do not understand how to use a sink? And again, she goes on to talk about how simple it is to turn on both of them, mix the sink's water until it's the perfect temperature, and then wash your face. You cannot tell, I'm sorry. I am sorry. None of you can tell me that that is easier than having a mixer tap. I will agree that that might be the solution that we have to use if you have, like, It's not easy. It's not simple. It's not easier than turning on one faucet and what? Okay, moving on. Okay. When I hear that Americans can only wash their hands under running water, I understand why so much of the US is desert. I don't think that has anything to do with it. But also, surely you're saving more water by turning on the faucet, washing your hands and turning it off, rather than turning on 2 faucets to fill up the whole sink. Okay, next. You are being downright offensive about the washing up bowl. And no, you have not been here long enough to get away with it, especially when your objections are purely because you are culturally unable to understand how sinks work. You guys, maybe I don't understand how sinks work. I've gotten this multiple times. Maybe I need to go back to the drawing board and figure out how sinks work because clearly I do not understand. Also, the fact that I could be so offensive about a washing up bowl definitely amused me. You can tell that we have been on lockdown, or we're on lockdown, I don't even know what to call it anymore, for way too long when we are being offended about washing up bowls. And then she goes on to say, let me dumb this down for you. The intelligent way to wash up. So then she goes on a whole thing about the right way to wash dishes. And again, I do find this funny because there are definitely differences in we don't call it washing up in the US. We just call it like washing the dishes, I think. But doing the washing up in the US versus the UK, 100%, my husband and I have gotten into like knockout fights about who's doing it correctly. I just think it's funny the passion that people bring to this topic and are willing to comment on my YouTube channel. And again, I wouldn't have even classed most of that as a hate comment because I have no problem with people saying, hey, we do it better here in the UK than in the US or whatever. But it's like, do you need to be so condescending about it? Probably not. Okay, so we've made it to the end of the video. I feel like I should wave my arms a lot and talk really loudly for my haters out there, but I won't because even I feel like that's obnoxious. Thank you guys for watching. I hope some of you will leave some funny or nice comments down below, or even just like neutral. We could just go for neutral. I know some of you will still leave hate comments and mean comments, and so again, please do, because if this video does well, I'll definitely make another one. There are a lot out there for me to choose from. But for those of you who are loyal followers, thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you next time.